is live. So how are you doing? Alright, here we go. And welcome, this is Nuke Marine presenting Let's Learn Japanese, a course series for the self-study of Japanese from basics and beginnings up to intermittent, hopefully advanced. As usual, this is a Let's Read Japanese, so up above is going to be playing the audio or video of what I'll be reading to. Off the side is going to be the text of what I'll be reading, either rips of the subtitles or the text of the actual book in case of an audiobook. Yeah, and I'll be reading along to the audio, and if I come across something I don't know, I'll pause the audio and then look up the meaning of the word real quickly in a pop-up dictionary, in this case Yomi-chan, and then continue on. Alright, and when I do these lookups, I don't pause and try to copy that all over into Anki. I'm not trying to memorize. These are not words which I want to then take effort to memorize. In the way which we are traditionally, I wouldn't say traditionally, way has been common to be done, came to be done with Anki or self-study methods, which is sentence binding. Just if you see something, add it to Anki, and then do all the reviews and testing that way. You can do it. It's never been my type of method that I've enjoyed doing. I kind of liked, how to say it, I've come to enjoy it more where I'll just do the reading and then later on I'll add the whole, either series or the whole book into Anki, then run Morphman and then let it find words that are, you know, the most common words that are in that textbook that aren't among the words that it thinks that I already know based on the information I've already told it, and then start showing those to me, and then I'll just learn a group of those, and then after about 100 or so I'll add in another TV show or book that I've already done a reading on. And the benefit there is that these are readings that I've done like a few months back, if not over a year back. It just depends on the spacing, and it still works. Like, there is a lot of material from that I have remembered and learned. One of the benefits is after I've done a Let's Read, I take either the audio and I rip it and I'll put it into my my smartphone and then have that play when I'm walking around, or basically, so it's just ever-present audio is a way of doing it. So that's like your background immersion is a way you can look at it. And because it's audio based on something which I made an effort to comprehend as much as possible, this is very effective audio, other than, let's say, a random YouTube podcast or something. You know, something that you weren't paying attention to first off, so it's really hard to then know about the audio that's coming up, because it may have been a word that just by hearing it, you just don't know what it means. K2 White Mouse with the hello. Hey. So nothing new here. I've said this before, and I'll probably say it again in the future, just to kind of remind me as to what the particular system which I'm happen to be working on. And there's nothing wrong with other systems, all right? And there are some flaws with the system which I'm using. But again, it's just, for me, it's what I found to work. And if it wasn't for me doing these Let's Reads where I read the audio, I probably wouldn't be reading. So for me, that's the benefit of doing these live streams. There's nothing about live streaming that seems special. All right, I'm not really getting too much benefit. Sometimes I get benefit, like an audience member will explain something that I'm kind of not getting. But that's never guaranteed. You don't want to depend on that. And it could be fun, I mean, as a group read, if you do it in that way. But for this way, it's like, hey, I'm just going through, I'm going at my pace. I know what I don't know, in a way, because it's like I'm looking at that, so, oh, I don't know what that means. Pause, look it up, cool. And it just keeps going on there. So I'm not waiting on someone else to understand what's happening. That's a big problem with group studies. That's a big, major problem with group studies, is no one goes at the same pace. Everyone has different levels of comprehension. And that can become tedious to those that are both advanced, you know, even in the happy middle, it can still be tedious, but especially tedious for those on the extreme ends, like the ones that just aren't understanding anything, and those that are just like, I understand all this, why are we wasting time, type thing. It's unfortunate nature of when it comes to group study, including in classroom studies. That said, there are some benefits to class studies. We don't need to worry about that, because this is set up to where you can do this in a self-study method at your own pace. So if you're doing this for an hour a day, that's the pace you're doing it. And you can be doing the same method as someone who's doing it 3 hours a day. They're just going to most likely go faster than you. Not go faster, but get through more material quicker. And it's not even quicker, because again, the rate is the same. It's just that the number of days they're going to require is a lot less. So, you know, that's just, if you, depending on how you want to look at it. I'm not trying to, and it's a good way to make sure, is like, be careful about comparing yourself to other people, is that you know your pace. So if you compare yourself to a person going at a similar pace, that could help. Or if you put in terms of hours, and you know, like, hey, you put in 300 hours or 500 hours, and you're at a certain level, you compare yourself to another person who's put in 300 or 500 hours, then that's a fair comparison. Even if they were doing it over, let's say, 2 months, and you've done it over 4 or 5 months, all right, then that's a fair comparison. But a lot of people don't track their hours. So another way of doing it is to say, hey, look how these various things, like, have you gone through, have you done hiragana katakana first? Okay, cool. Okay, have you done these first 1,000 words of Tengo and 5? All right, cool. Have you done 500 kanji from RTK Optimal? Okay, cool, you did that. All right, awesome. Have you done T? So find yourself, compare how you are doing to someone who's gone through that. And even if you do that comparison, you got to be careful, because some people review differently. Like for some, they just are just doing recognition with almost they don't really care about mistakes or whatnot. There's like some, they just want to speed through RTK, but they're just doing recognition RTK. Whereas the decks I put out, I try to stress, okay, you want it to, at least with kanji, make it more production. You don't have to, but you know, there's some benefits to that. It just depends on how you want to look at it. So careful about that, on comparing yourself to others. But you can still compare yourself to others. And that can give you a good idea. If someone who is roughly around your same level but feels like for some reason they're doing much better than you, look at what they're doing then. Now that could be a difference. Like, hey, maybe they are doing something a little different that is better. And, you know, be willing to adapt. The way I'm studying now is not how I was studying a year ago or 2 years ago. I have adapted. Some things which I was stressing, I said, you know, why am I stressing it? And then I kind of backed off on that and made the reviews easier. Other things, I was like, hey, you know, I want to make sure I'm not skipping on this one part. And made the reviews a little harder, but I get more out of it. It just depends on how comfortable you are. And I got to be really careful about explaining the fine details of what I do, because then people think, well, that's what I got. You know, they'll say, well, that's what I got to do, as well, what they have to do as well. And that could be a problem in that I'm coming at it from a different past. All right, when I restarted learning Japanese, like I had forgotten a lot, restarted, and even then I've gone like through large breaks, like 4 to 6 months breaks, even at the time which I had restarted studying. So it was like a good, even within like the 4 years which I had restarted, you know, there was like a year to 2 years of downtime of me not doing anything Japanese related, which is not good. Hence why I say about consistency. So there are people who are beyond my level, and that's fine, because they've been more consistent. But most likely we've all been kind of doing a very similar system. Again, learn basic vocabulary through structured sources and start doing the immersion, which is reading a lot of Japanese. In fact, that's the simple stuff, is consuming the Japanese. That's the thing that now is, I got to compare myself to others, like how many Japanese books have they read, or how many Japanese TV shows have they watched, like, or, you know, roughly, like if they're doing Morph Man, how many morphs do they have in their deck? And that's a kind of a very good comparison to say, okay, hey, you know, we might be at a kind of very similar levels. But even people who are like at my, let's say at my morph level of 7,700 or whatever it is, closer to 8,000, then even then they'll say, like, they'll tell me is like my apparent knowledge of the language seems to be higher than theirs. So it means, so you got to even be careful about that. So just, but I'm sure they have much better strengths at areas that I'm weak at. It just depends on what you compare against. And just also be aware. And if you ever put yourself out online, you're going to have a negative. You're going to have toxic people that are just going to look at whatever small mistake you make and amplify only that mistake and minimize any success that you have or any positives. So just be aware of that if you ever do decide to, like, hey, you are saying you want to put out that first video of you speaking Japanese for real for the first time, you're gonna have a lot of negative replies. It's that just comes with the Japanese language community, Japanese language learning community, because Japanese attracts a lot of people from a broad spectrum. And, yeah. All right, so that's me 10 minutes talking bullshit. Let's get started. All right, as usual, let's start off with the news. Cool. Alright, so this is 54 seconds. Sure, let's start with that one. Is there a video? Okay. Alright, let's look at it. So, okay, that's the remains, right? Yeah, skeletal remains. Hakotsu itai. Ikue fume no jousei ka. Artist, okay, from a female artist. Oh,
山梨県南アルプス市の山の中で見つかった一部白骨化した遺体が先月から行方が分からなくなっている71歳の画家の女性であることが分かりました。今月2日、南アルプス市の山の中で先月2日から行方が分からなくなっている画家の中辻彩子さんを捜索。
中辻彩子さん捜索していた
警察が一部白骨化した遺体を発見しました。
一部白骨化した。
遺体は落ち葉の下にあり、隠されたような跡があったということです。DNA 鑑定の結果、遺体は中辻さんであることが分かりました。警察などによりますと、中辻さんは現場付近の川のそばで絵を描いていましたが、車や携帯電話を残したまま行方が分からなくなっていました。
死体遺棄事件？死体遺棄事件として審査捜査本文いきさつAlright, so that's unfortunate. Let's see. It's me, Christ. Have you been studying Japanese for a while? Yeah. It's kind of complicated, but yeah, it's started a long time back. Stopped for a long time. Started a long while back as well, and then even during that time, I had a lot of shuts down. So it's a bit more like, hey, where I'm at now. So I'm roughly at about, I don't know, let's say 6,000 to 7,000 words. We'll just leave it at that, somewhere around there. And then I've read about the equivalent of 23 light novels to audio. There you go. All right, let's go. That's 2 minutes. Let's skip that one. All right, let's go with 36. Sure. All right. Yeah. So right now it's the rainy season in Japan, and yeah, there's been a lot of destruction from the heavy rains. Especially, I want to say, what were the prefectures? Why am I forgetting the prefectures? Well, I guess we're about to find some of them. All right, so let's pause this. Okay. It's me, Chris. 6,000 words is crazy. I wouldn't even think of 6,000 English words. No, now again, that's passive knowledge. It's like, hopefully, if I hear the word, I understand what it means. For like a native English speaker, passive comprehension of 30,000 words is pretty normal. Similar with native Japanese. Again, they got about 30,000, 40,000 passive understanding of their vocabulary. If you wanted something active, it's probably around about maybe 2,000 to 4,000, depending on how elucidate they are. I think I probably used that word wrong. How well spoken they are. So yeah, 6,000 is actually probably I even take that back. Yeah, probably with 2,000 active words, you could probably speak quite well. But you want to know more than that, because again, you want to learn how all the words are used, including those 2,000 along, mixed in with all these other words that you don't actively use, but you're going to be hearing a lot. Okay. Kekkai? Destruction, I know, right? Bursting. Oh, okay. One bit kekkai. Kekkai sayo. Sekai Saidai Kyu no Damo de. Oh, is this in China? Yeah, this was in China. Oh, this is not good. That's flooding, right? Oh, sweet. Discharging. Okay.
中国でも
Oh, you. 実施されました。
中国で最も長い川、長江の中流にある三峡ダムは
三峡ダム Three Gorges Dam 三峡ダムは先
月から降り続く大雨の影響で水の量が急増し、今年初めてダムの水を一部放流しました。中国メディアは今月上旬から下旬にかけて長江の上流部でさらに大雨が降る恐れがあると報じ、 SNS 上ではダムの決壊を不安視する声も上がっています。大雨によりこれまでに26の省などで1300万人以上が被災し、倒壊した住宅は1万棟以上に上っています。
病以上? I know it's a counter for houses, but 1万棟以上 Cool. Well, not cool, but yeah. So that was in China, but again, there's been a lot of destruction around Japan as well with these heavy rains. Okay, let's go to this one. Dekotora.
逮捕されたのは
Okay, Dekotora is a decorated truck. Those are probably like personalized trucks, just like people decorate their cars. These are drivers and. Okay, anyway, Dekotora no gomi. So it's like what was that? Shushu-sha? Shushu-sha. Okay, gomi shushu-sha. Let's see if that's a full word. Yeah, there we go. Gomi shushu-sha. Say no. Oh. A fake number? Fusei? Injustice. Oh. Fusei number. See what we got. Okay. Aichiken? Yeah, Aichiken. Aichiken ga. Haishutsu gas. Kisei. Regulations? Yeah, regulations. 排出ガス規制の対象地域のため That's 対象、right? 対照的だ浜松市が収集者と登録していた名古屋市の男が逮捕されました。Alright, here we go. Come back here.
逮捕されたのは名古屋市の自称古紙回収業の
Koshi? Waste paper. Koshi Kaishu Gyo. Recycling. Koshi Kaishu Gyo no Iwata Ichi? Chio.
岩田和容疑者です。
Iwata Kazuyo. Ichi. He's got a name there. Kazuha, Kazuyo. Okay. Kazuyo Gisha. Kazuyo Gisha です。
岩田容疑者は今年2月、浜松市で虚偽の申請をして作った印鑑
Kyogi. That's yeah, so fraud, right? Lie, falsehood, okay. Kyogi no shinsei. That's forged documents, applications. Okay. Kyogi no shinsei o shite.
登録証明書や知人の駐車場の住所で取った車庫証明書でゴミ収集車の車検証を取り
Inspections, right? Vehicle inspections, yeah. 車検証通り。
移転登録をした疑いが持たれています。警察は愛知県では排ガス規制があり
排ガス規制があり
岩田容疑者の収集車は登録できないため不正を行ったとみています。また収集車には大きな装飾がついていて
装飾デコレーションズ装飾がついていて
警察は不正改造についても捜査する方針です。
Okay. So the decorations kind of hide the some of the fake exhaust regulations. Okay, sure. Not really a story of international import, but it does kind of show about some of the. And you can like deco tora is a good word. Decorative truck. You do see those riding down the streets of Japan. Usually they're like cargo transport. Okay, what else we got? Okay, this is 44 seconds. Let's look at it.
事故があったのは
Okay. 交差点で乗用車と RV の2台、出会いとに衝突競歩双方の男性3人の乗用車一時停止様式印 indications. Okay. So this was yesterday evening. 北海道札幌市遠くで Is that 東区 or 遠く東区東区 Yeah, we'll find out. 乗用車と RV が衝突し双方の車に乗っていた3人が死亡しました。Here we go. Of course.
事故があったのは札幌東区東刈木12条2丁目の市道です。
切り木12章2丁目の市道です。
昨日午後6時45分ごろ、乗用車と貨物乗用車が交差点で出会い頭に衝突しました。
出会い頭衝突しました。出会い頭、okay.
この事故で乗用車を運転していた札幌東区の会社員吉山正信さん、
吉山正信さん。正信さん。吉山正信さん。
貨物乗用車を運転していた札幌東区の会社員雨宮誠さんと
雨宮誠さん。雨宮誠さん。
助手席の札幌東区の自営業岩田和也さんの3人が死亡しました。現場は信号機のない交差点で乗用車側に一時停止の標識があり、
Oh no, okay.
警察は乗用車が標識を見落とした可能性も視野に事故の原因
もう視野にいてんの。視野ね。
原因を詳しく調べています。
Okay. Yeah, okay, that's just unfortunate. Yeah, so one car just briefly stopped at the intersection. There was no signal lights there anyway, and then probably just got collided. And then one car had had a passenger, the other one just was a single driver. But yeah. Okay. What's the time right now? We'll do one more. Let's see, 58 seconds. All right, let's do that.
Yokohama 市鶴見区で
Okay. Jikaho Moon. Okay. Oh. So visiting son was stabbed by another, probably by his younger brother. Okay. Wow, okay. This is going to be a dark story.
Yokohama 市鶴見区で
Yokohama 市鶴見で横浜市鶴見区でいつか
昨日、兄をナイフで刺して殺害しようとしたとして53歳の男が逮捕されました。金井紀康容疑者は
金井千尋金井道弘容疑者は
昨日、鶴見区の自宅で
鶴見区の実家で
兄の信弘さんをナイフで刺して殺害しようとした疑いが持たれています。信弘さんは搬送先の病院で死亡しました。警察によりますと、金井容疑者は信弘さんの胸のあたりを馬乗りになってナイ
Jesus Christ, okay.
フで複数回刺したということです。
Basically, this humanoid is like probably like being on their back. I'm assuming. Right there, being astride. Yeah, right there. Yeah, so basically being astride of the person from the back. Jesus.
取り調べに対し容疑を認めています。信弘さんは昨日、金井容疑者と母親が暮らす実家を訪れていて、2人の間に何らかのトラブルがあったとみられています。警察は容疑を殺人に切り替え、捜査を進めています。
No, it's got nothing to do with horses. It just means, basically, it's like, basically probably knocked the guy down, then basically over his back, started stabbing him multiple times. Just a way of describing how the stabbing was occurring. Okay. Yeah. So, And they were saying like multiple times, hence the fukusukai. So yeah, multiple times was stabbing the person. So there's essentially just an argument of between two brothers. I'm gonna take a wild guess and assume money's involved. Just gonna guess. Yeah, so the brother who was visiting got stabbed by the guy who was living in Jika, so still living with the parents. There's no mention of the parents of what their situation is, but yeah. So, and it was just revealed during the, and then this right here it says, you keep hearing the same stuff frequently, so like Tori Shirabe, so that's like the investigations and whatnot, and then you'll say whether, and then Mitomete imasu, like he confirmed or basically admitted to it. You know, Yogisha just pops up all the time now in news shows. So if you ever study news broadcasts like this, like you take all these articles and then shove it into Anki via and use Morphman on it, then yeah, that word's going to be popping up to the top, along with quite a few things, other investigations, review, initial, being determined. Okay, yeah. So that's the Japanese. That's the news in Japan. It's kind of like news in other countries, I assume. You see stuff that might be of international consequence, you know, like the story of about the dam in China. Stories that might in local, stories, national news that might make international news. It sometimes happens, and other news that just only matters inside Japan, like the happen to be the car wreck. You're probably not going to hear that news article being relayed some other country, or even outside certain areas of Japan, or even in certain areas of Japan. Like this particular killing that might make national news, but I don't think you're going to be hearing about it, let's say in Korea or in the U.S. So it's just, it depends on how you want to look at it. But again, this has been fun. Since I started doing this, I actually kind of look forward to it. I do it for about 20 minutes or so at most. Depending on, I'll try to start 5 to 10 minutes into the broadcast, go up to about the 30-minute mark, and so don't really talk too much about the article because maybe I'm misunderstanding something. But yeah, it's kind of cool. If I did this every day, I think it would be really good. In that, one of the benefits since I live in Japan is, okay, I can probably talk about this later on today. It's like, oh yeah, I remember reading about that, type thing when it pops up on the evening news when my wife comes home and we're having dinner or something, and it happens to pop. What else? Yeah, that's it. Just depends on how, if it's boring, then don't do it. Find something else to do. That's easy enough. Right now it's been kind of fun. It's not now. What I won't do is take this audio and loop it. I am never going to do that. So I'll do that with the stuff I read, like the Let's Read stuff, but not with these news broadcasts. I am not going to do that. All right, let's get started on episode 12. I've been drinking too much coffee. Turn the audio down to 30. Okay, here we go. Say no.
ここはね、7000万年前の地球だよ。
So that's 700 million years ago, right? No, wait. 7 million years ago. $700. Yeah, it's got to be 70. Okay, wait. God damn it. Now I feel stupid. Okay, so yeah, 70 million years ago. Sorry, 7000 man. Sorry for fucking up with the math. My apologies. 7000万年前の
前より
オカリンはタイムマシンでここに送られちゃったんだ。
前よりなのか。
マユシーはね、オカリンを追いかけてたくさんの世界線のオカリンを 探し続けてきたのです。
前より
ここにいるオカリンもたくさんいるオカリンの一人って言えるし、オリジナルだっても言えるし、ここにいるマユシーもたくさんいるマユシーのうちの一人っても言えるし、オリジナルだっても言えるのでね、オカリンもマユシーもここで死んじゃうと思う。でもきっと7000万年後の秋葉原にいるオカリンとマユシーまで意志は連続していくんだって思う。だから大丈夫だよ。
静止限界、静止限界。Static limit? I don't know what that is. ドグマ。
オカリン、クリスちゃんがそろそろ完成するから来てくれって。あとね、マユシーのコスもね。さあ、早く早く。
August 13th, 2 o'clock. Okay, 13,317.
これをね、持っててくれないかな。
こうか。
そうそう、そうやってビローンって広げたままね。
ビロン。Stop that.
へえ、そのリボンかわいいわね。
でしょ。あ、クリスちゃんも着てみる？今度のコミマまだコスあるよ。
Masquerade. Comic Masquerade?
コスプレか。
もしかして興味あるん？
そんなわけないでしょ。こんなの人前で着るなんて。
できたー。じゃーん、私の勝ちだね。競争してたんだ。
やられた。でもこっちももう終わり。これで完成。これがタイムリープマシーンよ。
へえ、
こうやって見ると悪の組織の催眠メカみたいだよ。
Wait a minute. 組織。組織の催眠。Become sleepy. Trance, okay. トランス。催眠。メカみたいなね。ああ。
帽子付き電話レンジちゃんみたいな感じだね。
見てくれはチャチかもしれないけど、
チャチカ。安っぽい。チャチカ。
理論上はこれで記憶を過去に送ることができるはずよ。LHC が使える今なら特にね。
LHC が関係あるのか。
ええ。
Large Hadron Collider, right? Okay. I keep forgetting some of the terms which they accept. Okay, so yeah. Let's see if they have it. No, they don't have it. Okay.
簡単に言うと圧縮の問題。
圧縮 compression problem. 圧縮の問題。
前も言ったようにこの機械で脳の中にある記憶部分の信号を読み取りデータ化する。容量にして 3.24 テラ。電話レンジで送れるデータは36バイトプラスアルファ。当然テラなんて容量は送れないから、一旦 LHC にこれを送ってブラックホールの力で圧縮。それをここに戻して D メールと同じ方法で過去に送る。
押し入れに入らない布団を圧縮袋で入れる的な。
厳密には違うけど、まあイメージとしてはそういうことね。
So I guess that's the by the way, this ashuku fukuro, I think that's like the little package you put it like connect to a vacuum and it takes out all the air, so it makes the futon into a smaller package so it can now can fit into the closet. I guess that's what he's trying to say. Basically, it's shrinking you down so you can then fit through the black hole and without being like only a part of you going through the black hole, so all of you can go through it. Yeah, there we go. Ashuku bukuro. Ashuku bukuro de.
データは D メール同様過去の携帯に送られる。そしてここから携帯の拡散電波を利用して
拡散 spread out 電波、radio wave dispersal, right? 拡散 And by the way, this is where some people are saying like a good way of learning through comprehend like without looking up stuff. So like that right there, like I forgot how to pronounce it because I didn't hear him pronounce it just right, like bukuro, but like the ashuku bukuro. Because I saw this, I had to reread it. But oshiire is like closet anyway. So irenai, so like a closet you can't fit in. So a futon that can't fit into a closet, you put it into this compression bag, right? So this was a new word. But from that, you know, it wasn't too difficult to figure out. If you knew ashuku is compression anyway, and then ashuku bukuro then is a compression bag, and you just happen to know what that was in, you know, because that's kind of a common thing now. I don't know if how common it is in the U.S. I've seen it in the U.S. on commercials, but this one right here, Genmitsu. Now, Gen is strict and Mitsu is secret, but strictly exact. So I wouldn't have guessed it just from looking at the. Though you may have kind of said like, oh, maybe it's not quite. Genmitsu ni wa chigau kedo, ma imeji to shite wa. So that would have made you kind of guess what Genmitsu was just by reading it. But again, why? In that one example, I could do it, but in live examples, I probably could not just through the context alone. So hence the reason why I do the pausing and the lookup. Okay, and Kanye West 2020 vision. Are you living in Japan? Yes. Okay. 過去の自分の脳には今の記憶のコピー。
過去の自分の脳に今の記憶をコピー。未来の記憶を持った自分が誕生する。データを送るのは最大で一度に48時間まで。それ以上過去に送ると脳の状態の齟齬が大きく
齟齬 consistency 脳の状態の齟齬が大きく
コピーが失敗する可能性もあるわ。あと一つだけ問題が。
何？
電話レンジや D メールと違って誰かが被験者にならない限り。
誰かが被験者Wave 実験 So experimental ケルトと subject trial 誰かが被験者にならない限り
実験はできない。送るのが記憶である以上人間が試すしか成功か失敗か確かめる方法がないの。
つまりこの中の誰かが試してみなきゃいけないってこと？僕はパス。
岡部、あなたの意見を聞かせて。法王院じゃなく岡部のね。
ダル、
なんぞ？
セルに回線がつながった原因はまだわからないんだよな。
うん。でもハッキングがバレた気配はないよ。
それについては私も同意。本当に気づいていたら何かアクションがあるはずだもの。
時間を本当に超越できるのか？
超越 Is that surpassing 普通の程度を超え So exceeds normal limits. I assume that's what it means. 時間の本当に超越できる。
確かめてみたい気持ちはある。
じゃあマユシーの買ってきたバナナをタイムリープさせればいいんじゃないかな。
まゆり、さっきも言ったでしょ、バナナに記憶は。
だが実験はしない。このことは世間に公表する。
Public announcement. Okay.
タイムリープマシンはしかるべき機関に託そう。
本当に
岡部がそれでいいのなら。
マユシーは大賛成です。
橋田はピザ頼んだのよね。
ああ、
そうね。じゃあサラダだけにしておくか。あとは。
待て、
何よ。
サラダと言ったよな。
そうよ、グレープフルーツのサラダ。
ならなぜ納豆とひき肉がカゴに入ってる？
いろいろ合わせてみると美味しいのよ。グレープフルーツの酸味があるから何合わせてもいけるし。
Sour taste. 酸味 acidic. グレープフルーツの酸味があるから見合わせていける。
いや、いけないだろう。
いけるわよ、食べてみればわかる。
サラダならここにすでに完成したものがあるではないか。しかも 50% オフだ。
出来合いのもの買ってもつまらないでしょ。
出来合いのもの買っても。
ったくこれだから実験にしか興味のない男はダメなのよね。パクチーここにあったか。
俺だ、機関のエージェントがついに作戦を開始した。至急援助を求める。大至急だ。
Okay, assist. 援助援助。至急援助。
なんか病院から戻った猫みたい。やっと解放されたってほっとしてる。意外だった。あんたならすぐタイムリープの実験をしようって言うかと思ってたから。
不満か？
そりゃあね。
頑張れ。
人間は根源的に時間的存在である。
根源的に時間的 timely temporal okay temporal 時間的存在である。
ハイデガーの言葉よ。
ハイデガーの言葉よ。
実験しないって言われて正直ほっとした。多分みんなも一緒だったんじゃないかと思う。
ねえねえ、パーティーやるならルカちゃんやフェリスちゃんも呼んでいい？
開発評議会だ。
開発評議会だ。
マユリはずっと前からやめるべきだと思っていたのかもしれない。
そうね。案外実験に夢中だった私や岡部よりもあの子の方がいろいろ見えていたのかもね。公表はいつ？
なるべく早い方がいいだろうな。
先に教えてね。ママに連絡しておきたいから。それにパパにも知られることになるし、私がタイムリープマシン作ったって。青森行きもちょっと無理かな。きっと大騒ぎになるもんね。
心配するな。ラボメンが抱えている問題は必ず俺が解決してやる。
ああ、はいはい。 助手としてこき使いたいからなんでしょ。
大切な仲間だからだ。
ありがとう。
は
何してる。
熱があるせいで助手らしくもないことを言い出したのかと思ってな。
別に。あんたに感謝していたわけじゃない。これは形式的な例というか、なんというか。
形式的有給の的な例、形式に関するそうわかりないよ。OK。形式的な例というか、
それは何というツンデレなのだ。
ツンデレじゃない。あんたこそ何よ。いつも無茶苦茶なことばかり言ってるくせに、急に仲間がどうとか言い出して支離滅裂なんだよ。
バカなことは言うな。
OK、支離滅裂、支離滅裂、なんだ。
俺は常に揺るぎない。ラボメンは味方であり、世界は敵である。それだけだ。
呆れて言葉も出んわ。
言葉なら出ているではないか。
上げ足取るな。
上げ足。Lift up your feet. 取引。I guess making a one. I guess it's making an agreement or make a exchange of some sort. Okay, somebody slip up. Torihiki. So I got that wrong. Okay.
おはよう。
一人で先につまみ食い。行儀悪いわよ。
ピザ。
Tsumamigui? Tsumamigui. Okay. There's a new word, makes sense. Tsumami is, like a little name for little snacks you have at a table, but tsumamigui?
ピザは冷めると美味しくないよ。
What is it? Gyogi warui? Gyogi warui. 一人で先にtsumamigui? Gyogi warui はや。
それよりもなぜ3枚とも同じ種類なのだ。
僕の個人的趣味。
おのれ、そんな独占的なことが許されると思うのか。
Wait a minute. そんな独善的？独善的。OK。おのれ、そんな独善的なことが許されると思うのか。
ほら、だから材料買ってきて正解でしょ。ちょっと待って、今作っちゃうから。
なぜ止めなかったし。
止めたさ。全力で力の限り。
オカリン、ラボメンはオカリンが守るって言ったろ。
諦めるな。まだ終わったと決まったわけじゃない。もしかすると以前のアップルパイは失敗に過ぎず、本来なら。
ハディッシュ忘れたわ。らっきょで代用するか。
らっきょう？ OK。らっきょう？代用するか。
俺、この食事が終わったら故郷に帰って結婚するんだ。
ただい
ふるさとじゃなくて故郷。I know it's hometown, but ふるさと and 故郷。I know it's still hometown, but 故郷帰って結婚するんだ。
マイリー、おお、よかった。すぐにキッチンへ。
チースなになんかいい匂いするけど。あ、もうピザ届いてたんだ。マユシーも唐揚げ。
なんでマキセクリスがいるわけ？ここのラボ面だからだけど、むしろあなたこそなんでここに？ラボ面だからだよ。
どういうこと？
わからん。
クリスちゃん、すずさんと何かあったの？
別に、ただこの人が変な言いがかりをつけてくるだけ。私がセルンのスパイだとかな。
言いがかりじゃない、事実だよ。
何その自信満々の態度。
自信満々な態度。なんでその自信な態度。自信満々な態度。満々な態度。
証拠はあるの？
証拠はない。でもそうなる。
は？
予言だよ。私は君のことを君以上に知ってる。君が本質的にどういう人間で、これからどういうことをやっていくかも。
ごめん、論理が破綻しすぎてて。
破綻 ?Theory 破綻着物などや破れほ。Okay. Breakdown. まとまっている状態。破綻。論理が破綻しすぎて。
何言ってるのかさっぱりわからない。
クリスちゃん、すずさん。
下がっていろ、マユリ。この場を収められるのはこの法院教魔しかいないようだな。女子よ、俺はお前をそのように育てた覚えはない。
育てられた覚えもない。
またサイエンティストを目指す上で最も大切なことを教え。
聞いてないし、なる気もない。
バイト戦士よ。
岡部倫太郎には忠告したよね。マキセクリスには気をつけろって。
確かにそれは聞いたが。
聞いたんだ。この人の言うことを疑いもなく信じたんだ。
いやそうではないが。
でも否定もしなかったよね。
いやそれは
仲裁に入った意味なくね？
仲裁？急いの間生えたり返させること。peaceful resolution。仲裁。arbitration。OK、mediate。仲裁に生えた意味が。
やかましいな。貴様がやってみろ。大体
マユシーはね、喧嘩は嫌いなのです。
マユリ？
私だって別に好きなわけじゃ。みんなでいるときは仲良くした方が楽しいと思うよ。
くふ、よーく考えるがいい。そのカードがリンクかはたまたウイルスか。バイト戦士、そこにお前の戦士としての命運、そして残されたデザートがかかっている。
迷ったら攻める、それが私のモットーだよ。
ウイルス。
かかったな小娘が。これで貴様のウイルスは3枚。ギブアップするというのであれば上のチェリーだけは恵んでやろう。
あまねし正直すぎ。
あまねき。あまねし。あまねし。あまねし。あまねし。
おかりん、すずさんかわいそうだよ。
勝負の世界は生きるか死ぬかだ。そう、そのように俺は育てられてきた。
そっちの隅っこに並んでるやつ、間違いなくリンクカードだから。岡部の性格から考えたら絶対そうだから取ってみなさい。
本当だ。
女子よ、貴様女子のくせに裏切るというのか。
女子言うな。あんたのその偉そうな口が気に入らないのよ。
礼は言わないよ。マユシーも手伝います。
じゃあまゆりはみんなの分のお茶用意してくれる？
さて、ありがとうクリスちゃん。
何が？
すずさんと仲良くなってまゆしーは嬉しいです。
ああ、別に仲良くなったわけじゃないけど、確かにまゆりの言う通りだなって。みんなでいるときは仲良くした方が楽しいよね。岡部ともさっき話してたの。このラボのこと一番冷静に見てたのはまゆりだったのかもって。なんかその時だけあの岡部が神妙な顔しててさ。ちょっと気味が悪かったぐらい。
オカリンがかわいそうだよ。
ごめん。だって
おのれブライト選手よ。己が能力で勝ったのではない。うぬぼれるなよ。
うぬぼれる。うぬぼれる。I know that's like fall in love, right? Fall in love with yourself. 自分の優れていると。Oh, then highlight yourself. Okay. Gotcha. Be conceited. うぬぼれるでないよ。
本当に美味しいねこれ。
2回戦に向けて作戦を練ってくる。せいぜい今のうちに味わっておくがいい。
せいぜいしび一生懸命今のうち味わってよ。
人生最後のデザートをな。
ちょっと見てきたら。こっちは私がやっとくから。
おお、なんだ。
懐中電灯見当たらなかったから。
Raul Guillermo saying, which page are you using? This isn't a page. This is just a text file that I made using SubSRS and the subtitles of this anime. You can get the subtitles from Kitsuneko, assuming they're still up. Sometimes they go down. I think they've been down recently. Okay, so this is a flashlight. Pocket flashlight. 見当たらなかったから。
そのサイリウムセーバーは貴重な未来ガジェット6号。
サイリウム。ケミコライ。そのサイリウムセーバーは一応、バイブル、貴重な未来ガジェット6号。貴重な未来ガジェット。
大きい伝統代わりに使うな。
明るいのに。
Let's see, how do you get the translation so fast? Well, I'm not translating, I'm comprehending. That's what you want to do. You want to get to the point where you're not thinking about what it means in English. You're thinking about just what it means. So yeah, if I wanted to translate, it would take a lot longer. So, like Kaichu Dento, it's like, well, that's pocket in the middle of your pocket. So it's just basically a pocket flashlight. Miyatara nakata kara. So it's not really an actual flashlight. It's the gadget number. It's a special gadget number 6. No. It's fine. That's the reason why I do this live as a live stream, is to hear the people's questions and comments sometimes. I thought she'd be singing Star Wars.
楽しそうだな。
楽しいよ。ピザも美味しかったし、すずさんとクリスちゃんも楽しそうだし。
俺は楽しくない。
ねえ、ラボ面たくさんになったでしょ。だからね、最近いろいろ足りないなって。
いろいろって。
椅子でしょ。それから食器も足りないし。
もう少し待て。タイムリープマシンを公表すれば何らかの形で謝礼は入るだろう。
謝礼？患者な気持ちを幸せか。謝礼入るだろう。
それで全て解決だ。
本当？椅子と食器買える？
ああ、買える。買ってもなお余ると言ったら？
じゃあ電子レンジも。唐揚げ温められなくて困ってるんだ。
検討しよう。
だか不思議だね。春の頃はオカリンとっても寂しそうだったのに。ラボはいつも静かで、オカリンのパソコンの音しか聞こえなくて、それが今ではダルくんでしょ、クリスちゃんでしょ、ルカちゃんでしょ、すずさん、萌香さん、フェリスちゃん、ブラウン店長さん、ナエちゃん。
マユリ、
もう大丈夫だね。マユシーが人質じゃなくても。
オカリン、マユシ、大変、電車止まってる。
もう一度お伝えします。爆破の予告があったために現在運転を見合わせているのは
explosive wave? 爆破 explosion. Okay, 爆破の予測が
次の路線です。山手線、総武線。
テロの予告なんて迷惑よね。
家に電話しなくちゃ。
このパーティーってタイムリープマシンが完成した記念なんだよね。
そうだけど、なぜ急にその話題なん？
セルンのハッキングは続けてるの？
続けてるっつうか、もっと奥まで入り込んだっつうか。
どういうこと？
セルンと直接回線でつながったんだ。
So that means direct connecting the circuit. Chokusetsu Kaisen should be a directly. That should be a circuit. Yeah. Chokusetsu Kaisen de tsunagattaんだよ. They're being bugged. Wait.
みんな今すぐ。ごめん、私帰る。
すずさ
何なの彼女。
マユシはどうするん？タクシーで帰る？
タクシーはお金が。あれ、マユシーの懐中止まっちゃってる。おかしいな。さっきネジ巻いたばっかりなのに。
何これ。
なんだ。
運転を見合わせて。
動くな。全員両手を上げろ。
萌香さん。
桐生萌香。
タイムマシンはセルンが回収する。セルン？どういうこと？マキセ・クリス、岡部倫太郎、橋田至る、3名は一緒に来てもらう。
マユリは
椎名真由里は必要ない。
やめろ。やめてくれ。 マユリマユリなんだよこれなんだよこれ
Okay. Yeah, I was warned like yesterday that the next 3 episodes, including this one, are kind of dark. So something they mentioned earlier in the show about, in the episodes, I guess, about a controlling chip. So you always kind of, when they mention that, you know, you're always thinking like this one girl is the one who's kind of being controlled by a chip or whatnot, just the way that she reacts kind of in a weird way, like she's kind of being controlled and can only communicate through the phone or something. Like maybe she can talk through the phone, but without the other person, whoever is controlling the eyes, can see it. Who knows? I don't know. Cool. Trying to think. All right, so let me take a quick break. I'll be right back, and we'll start up on episode number 13. If all right, want a little coffee. Sons of a bitch. Hate when that happens. Put the cup down just wrong angle that just spills a little bit on the table, but not too bad, but still annoying. That tastes good. Okay, what do we got? Uh, Raul Guillermo is from Mexico. Hey, and don't know if you're watching this for learning Japanese or you're just interested in the particular anime. So yeah, if you're doing it for Japanese, yeah, quite a few people from Japan study. I'm sorry, it's quite a few people from Mexico study Japanese, and also from South America as well. Because there was, you know, kind of historically, there was a large number of Japanese people that went from Japan. This is pre-World War II, and kind of settled around South America and whatnot. And sometimes they kept in contact with family members in Japan and whatnot. So it's been kind of the reason why there's like a studying of, you know, knowledge of Spanish within a large number of people who study Spanish within Japan. Okay, cool. See what we got. Got that, got that, got that. All right, let's go with that. Okay, so right now it's 1 hour 16 minutes. Let's go. In fact, let me kind of bring this up over here out of the way. Okay, episode, what was supposed to be 13? There we go. Hey, wait, wasn't she dead? No. I'm sure it would make sense in the story. Okay, cool. Alright, what have we got? Okay, episode 13. Episode 13, Metaphysical Necrosis. Turn down the volume. Actually, I'll tell you what, let me, so what you may notice me doing, you know, my lips are moving while the story's so on, you know, I know it looks, I know it's a bad thing to do. Like, I'm not in the habit of reading, like, moving my lips as I read. I'm doing that on purpose in that I'm, you know, trying to, like, talk along at the similar speed of what they're saying, and then making sure I'm, like, pronouncing stuff as I've heard it, as well as how I'm reading it. I can't do it when they're speaking very fast, but you kind of, like, when they're getting into an argument and stuff. But when it's just kind of a very general conversation, yeah, it seems to be working fine. And yeah, later on, I think I mentioned before, you can kind of, there are some ways you can, there are tricks you can pull to improve your speaking. Part of it is just mimicking. Now, shadowing means trying to, there's one where you're doing it live, like as you're trying to speak as fast as you're hearing it. That's one way of shadowing. The other is just repetition, where you hear it, pause real quick, repeat it, and then go that way. I think that one's a little better. You know, it's up, depending on how you want to do it. And because if you're shouting, it's like, it's very hard to follow along, like, because you're hearing the way the native is pronouncing it, then you're hearing yourself pronounce it. If someone else is trying to gauge your ability of how well you're saying the words, it's going to be very difficult because there's a lot of interference. So it's probably better if you go listen and repeat. Then there's listen repeat, like I'm doing, where I'm reading, and then there's listen repeat without text. That's a better. It's harder to do, but it's probably more fulfilling. So I've done both, as you know, as an English teacher, where I'm trying to, because it's when you get to someone who's at a higher level where they can do this, it feels like, okay, you probably do it on your own, but it is good to have a native then gauge how well the person is pronouncing things. And it's not necessarily how they pronounce each individual word, it's actually how they pronounce the sentence as a whole, you know, how smoothly it is. And I noticed, like, with one student, like, if I play it ahead before, or I read it out to her and then have her repeat, her pronunciation is a lot more smoother. And then hopefully that'll, if I can play that back to her and have her hear the differences, it might make her encourage her to, you know, again, practice speaking through mimicking as opposed to just depending only on shadowing. You know, it just depends. Okay. Let's say, okay, 1 hour 20 minutes. Let's go.
タイムマシンはセルンが回収する。セルン？ どういうこと？牧瀬クリス、岡部倫太郎、橋田至、3名は一緒に来てもらう。
まゆりは
椎名まゆりは必要ない。
やめろ、やめてくれ。
FB のために FB
まゆり、まゆり。
I believe it's Edo Kubo, Kudo Kubo. Do you also put this through Morphman? If so, do you mark stuff you remember as known, even if it was recently brand new? Well, like the stuff right now, like the current thing I'm going through Morphman is what's called Keikon Dekinai Toku, which if you look on my thing, that's like a few months ago I did a Let's Read on that. In fact, I can't even quite recall when I did the Let's Read, but it's quite a few months ago, if not over a year ago. So yeah, I'm not going to put into Morphman anything that's less than a month old. I've decided to make that decision if I ever catch up to where I'm at now, because I'm going to start reading faster and going through a lot more material faster. So I decided if I am going to add stuff to Morphman, that will be the limitation, is the make sure, hey, it's had a month or so to kind of gel in my head, and if I feel like I know a word when it comes up via Morphman, then I'll know, yeah, it is a word in which it's not there because of recency. It's there because it's stuck, either through the repetition of the word, that like Ho'oin, I'm gonna or that, or Kyoma, those were like the names there. Christina, maybe Christina is because I keep kind of like, I don't really pay attention to each of the kanji in Christina. Kurisu, nor do I kind of quite remember what are the particular kanji means. I'm sure if I, tree in south is, I'm sure it's a type of bird, egg. Okay. Kuni, well, that's red, and that's, well, anyway, sorry, not to get distracted, but the yeah. So that's the idea. I just, that's the difference, which I think, and it's a test. I don't know if other people have done it. Most people have been doing sentence mining through something they've been reading. They notice, hey, this is a word that's popped up quite a few times, so they want to make sure they memorize it now, so they then copy it up. That's one way of doing sentence mining. Another does it where if every new word they copy over. So it's like everything. This one's a little different in that now I'm just realizing it, just through accident really, but just that I realize like I'm learning a lot of words just through the reading itself, just by reading a lot to audio and then looking up stuff which I don't know. That was the key though, looking up stuff I don't know. I am learning words that way, and I'm learning words that stick. So that's and the best way to do that is don't do it with stuff that you did recently, because it's just fresh in your head. So make sure some time pass. Month is going to be the cutoff, but it could be 3 months or even a year. As long as it's something that you've consumed and tried to comprehend. When you were consuming it, you're trying to comprehend up to as much as you possible. Kudo Kupo saying, I guess that makes sense. You probably learned it well enough if it's been that long. Yeah. And a lot of the words that pop up are just words that are just not even worth memorizing, because they're just or those type of words. The space fillers that they put in because it came from subtitles or something. Okay, let's keep going.
なんだよこれ！
離れて。
岡部！離れて！岡部も殺されちゃう！
許さない。俺があいつを。
42ブラウン管点灯済み。
ブラウン管。
早く！
俺が行く。
でももし失敗したら
早くしろ。
Okay. Sorry, let me just say that that got interesting real fast. So you do know, hey, some weird shit was happening since the very first episode. Now I guess we're going to be playing through episodes 1 through 12 again. But now, so that's right now I'm thinking that's going to be really, really, really cool. So we're going to be, because remember he starts off seeing her already dead. So then he's remembering her dead when he first started off, and then he sees her completely normal. So maybe I'm guessing that's how it's going to play out. We're going to see everything play out again from the beginning and understand why all these changes were happening, and some of the things that were happening that were like didn't make sense before is going to start making sense now. And by the way, this show has already been interesting. This show's already been funny, really engaging. Just that got super interesting very fast. Kind of like with Full Metal Alchemist. It was the whole 26 episodes that I watched were great fun. Anyway, it took Evangelion though. That one took to like episode I think 12 or 13. It had to wait till like it was before it was really kind of really interesting in my opinion. It was just kind of like monster of the week up until a certain and this goofy little home life type of silliness. Then even though I know it was set into a sci-fi dystopia, was it dystopia? Yeah, okay, I'll say dystopia. But yeah, this has been a fun show, as was the previous Full Metal Alchemist. Death Note, yeah, I liked the Death Note, but after episode 26, basically it was like, okay. You still watched the last 10 episodes or so, but they weren't as good as those first 26. Up into that event that happened that we all know, that if you've seen the show, you know about. Okay. 428. The same kachi menjo? No, not kachi tanjo. I don't know the word, sir.
マユリの祖母が亡くなったのはまだマユリが小学生の頃だった。マユリは毎日墓参りを欠かさずそれは祖母が亡くなって半年経っても続いていた。片身の懐中時計を手にいつも空を見上げていた。まるで祖母が迎えに来るのを待っているように。そんなある日光は差した。レンブラント光線。
レンブラント光線。
エ エンジェルラダーとも呼ばれる光。
エンジェルラダー。エンジェルラダー。エンジェルラダー。ラダー。ラダー。エンジェルラダー。ラダー。ヨガ。ジェイコブスラダー。エンジェルラダー。
マユリがその光に引き込まれていくような。このままマユリが消えてしまうような。マユリ！
オカリン。
連れてなんて行かせない。マユリは俺の人質だ。人体実験の生贄なんだ。
口をついて出たのはガキの頃覚えたそんなセリフ。マユリと二人で見たテレビでマッドサイエンティストがバカみたいに叫んでたセリフ。
そっか。マユシーはオカリンの人質なんだね。じゃあしょうがないね。
August 13th. Same day, 5 o'clock, so it's a little earlier, okay?
どうしたの？もしかして居眠りでもしてた？
今は何時だ？
え？
何時だ？
何よ、もうすぐ5時。買い物に行くんでしょ？
買い物？
じゃあ僕はピザ注文しておくよ。
お願い。トロピカルスペシャルだけはやめてね。あれ苦手なの。
同意。
成功したのか、タイムリープに。
岡部、
マユリはどこだ？
何なのよ、やぶから棒に。
マユシならルカシのとこにパーティー誘いに行くってさっき出て行ったじゃん。
買い物行くの？
開発評議会は中止だ。
評議会、開発評議会、評議会、開発評議会は中止。
中止？どうして？
何かあったん？
今日はこれで解散だ。二人ともすぐ家に帰れ。
どういうこと？
いいから帰るんだ。いいな、絶対だ。
何なの？携帯がかかってきたと思ったら、携帯？
マユシーです。今電話に出られません。ご用の方は？
世界線が大きく変わった様子はない。 D メールの時とは違って。本当に今日の午後5時に戻ってきたんだ。
ガタンガタン。新幹線。
違うでしょ、新幹線は白いの。
この後マユリが鈴葉を連れて帰ってきて警察に駆け込むか。いや、誰が信じる。未来からタイムリープしてきたなんて。あと3時間で何とかするしかない。マユリ、マユリ。
いえ、今日
マユリはどこだ？
もう帰りましたけど。
帰った？いつだ
？30分くらい前でしょうか。ラボに戻るって言ってましたけど、戻ってないんですか？すみません。せっかくパーティーに誘ってもらったのに、僕今日はどうして。
どこかに寄るとは言ってなかったか？
マユリちゃんですか？いえ。
もし見かけたらすぐ俺に電話するように言ってくれ。
はい。
世界線が変わっていないということは、マユリ自身の行動は。
You think it'd be easier if they just say, oh, hey, just calm down. I'm looking for her. If you see her, call. Keep it simple. You know, you You got a time machine, you got all the time in the world. I don't know. I've got no time to explain. Then of course they get confusion. It would have had plenty. If he explained it, would have saved even more time. I know it's his piss poor writing on certain parts, but it's also kind of a trope in Japan where, especially in dramas, where if someone's missing, they all go running randomly through the streets, and then randomly they're just gonna find them. It never fails. It's just like, why are you doing that? It's like, at least have an idea where to go, because it's like, okay.
俺が何かをしない限り変わらないはずだ。どこだ？
にゃんにゃん。フェリスは今電話に出られないにゃ。ご用の方は。
どこにいるんだ、マユリ。マリカ。
おあいにくさま。
上司か。今日はもう解散だと言っただろう。早く帰。
端的に答えて。あんた未来からタイムリープしてきたんじゃない？
なぜわかった？
携帯に出た瞬間、人が変わったみたいになったから、その様子だと何かあったってこと？
あ、だが詳しく話している時間はない。とにかく逃げるんだ。
逃げるってどこに？
どこでもいい。なるべくラボから離れるんだ。分かったな。
後でちゃんと聞かせてよ。
あ、誰にも伝えてくれ。
分かった。岡部。
なんだ？
変なことはしないでね。
分かってる。
岡部倫太郎、さ、お茶の水。
マイリオ見てないか？
お、椎名真由里？ああ、ちょうど今パーティーに誘われて。
どうだ？
そこ右曲がったとこ。あ、ねえ、お茶の水ってどっち？苗が買い物行くから送ってかなきゃなんだけど。
水なら交番で聞け。それと送ったらお前も戻ってくるな。
どういうこと？
理由は後で話す。マユリ、マユリ。
ああ、オカリ、見て、一番星。
何？いいから一緒に来るんだ。
パーティーは？
中止だ。もうクリスと誰にも言ってやる。
どうして？
後で説明する。
And then they're like taking 5 minutes to get to some place. It's like, don't say anything. You know, you had to do that on camera.
でもすずさん誘っちゃったし、ダル君だってピザ頼む。
いいから言うことを聞け。
オカリ。
See? Should have explained. No, yeah, man, sorry.
マユシーはよくわからないのです。オカリンはいつもよくわからないことするけど、今日のオカリンは本当にわからないよ。実験やっぱりやりたかったのかな。
マイリ、そういうわけじゃない。でも今は言う通りにしてくれないか。時間がないんだ。詳しいことは後でちゃんと話す。
うん、ごめんね。マユシーなんかびっくりしちゃって。
謝るな。マイリーは悪くない。
すごい人だね。
帰宅ラッシュの時間だからな。
あれ？でも誰もいないよ、ホーム。
もう一度お伝えします。爆破の予告があったために現在運転を見合わせているのは次の路線。
運転再開のめどはまだ出てないって。
なんてうかつな。こんな時に。
オカリン？
マイリー、地下鉄だ、早く。
岡部倫太郎だな。
どうしたの？
一緒に来てもらう。
そこ何止まってんだよ。どいてくれ。走れ。走れ。全力で走るんだ。
あの人たちはオカリン。
早く行け。逃げろお前ら。
死んだのは椎名真由里です。岡部君、いえ、岡部倫太郎は確保しました。
参れ。くっそー。殺させない。マイレイ、絶対に助けてやる。お前を必ず。
中止？どうして？
何かあったん？
あ、実はな、ミスター・ブラウンが今晩乗り込んでくるという情報をキャッチした。
オカリン、また何かやらかしたん？
Sorry. I was getting caught up with watching the story, like not even reading the text. I was just watching the story going. Okay, so sorry about that.
ああ、ちょっとな。
でも真由里は？
真由里には俺が言う。とにかくここにいては危険だ。本日は解散とする。強引すぎたか。いや、怪しかろうとなんだろうといい。とにかく今はみんなをラボから遠ざけるのが先だ。
怪しいです。今電話に出られません。
どうしても時間がかかってしまう。これじゃあさっきと同じだ。なんとかして真由里を。
もしもし。
ルカ子、俺だ。岡部だ。
いえ、すみません。今日
真由里はそこにいるか。
真由里ちゃんですか？はい、今帰るところ。
呼び止めるんだ。俺が行くまで絶対にそこから動くなと伝えてくれ。
でもラボに戻る。
いいから言う通りにするんだ。
はい、真由里ちゃん。ガタンガタン。新幹線。
違うでしょ。新幹線は白いの。
マイレイ。
ああ、オカリン、てってるー。大丈夫？これから吹雪ちゃんのコス直してラボに帰るところだったのに。
吹雪ちゃん、コスプレ仲間か。
うん、マユシーが作ったコスの糸がほつれちゃったんだって。今メールがあって。
そういうことだったのか。
直したらすぐラボに行くから、パーティーには間に合うよ。
待て、パーティーは中止、延期になった。
どうして？
どうしてもラボが使えなくなってな。仕方ないんだ。
そうなんだ。
それで今から真由里にはちょっと付き合ってもらいたい。今すぐだ。
吹雪ちゃんは？
すまんが後にしてくれ。大至急なんだ。
何かあったんですか？
ああ、これからちょっと遠出する。
遠出、ちょっと遠出する。
旅行だ。
二人でですか？いえ、
吹雪ちゃんは明日でもいいけど、急だね。どこに行くの？
それは後で話す。電車の時間がないんだ。
でもマユシ何の準備もしてないし、お金も。
それは心配しなくていい。さあ行くぞ。
待ってよ、オカリン。
いってらっしゃい。
行ってくるね。 秋葉原の駅向こうじゃないかな。
地下鉄で行く。
そうなんだ。なんかこうやってオカリンに引っ張られて歩くのすごい久しぶりだね。
ああ。戻るぞ。よし、行くぞ。クリスか。
He knows the train stops, so.
あれ、マユシーの懐中止まっちゃってる。おかしいな、さっきネジ巻いたばっかりなのに。
ネジ巻いた。Oh, okay. Okay. ネジ巻いたばっかりなのに。
ずいぶん人が多いね。
総武線が止まったんだろう。
止まってるの？
ああ、爆弾を仕掛けたという電話が入ったらしくてな。
そうなんだ。ねえオカリン。あのね、マユシーは聞きたいことがいっぱいあるけど今は我慢しとくね。その代わり終わったら全部聞かせてほしいのです。
ああ、約束する。
ごめんね。オカリンの力になれなくてごめんね。
パーティーいつかやろうな。
いつか。
Please don't tell me they push her in front of the train.
いつか必ず。まゆりお姉ちゃじゃないの。わざとじゃないの。私お姉ちゃんをびっくりさせようと思って。
殺させない。マユリは俺が助ける。
Yeah, so I wasn't sure if they were going to be so kind of like if you ever saw there was a movie remake of the Time Machine where he was trying to go back to save his fiance, and no matter what he did, although he did it like 2 or 3 times, he acted like no matter what he was going to die. It's like, well, the one thing is like he's right with her. He's trying to save her. So maybe if he stopped trying to save her, like, but just make sure she's somewhere else. Right. But if, if he's the one being hunted and he's dragging her along with him, then he makes her get in trouble, type thing. Who knows? It just depends on how they want to write it up. The I at least like that he acted a lot more calmer on the second trip back, and didn't play the whole, oh my god, I can't explain anything, we gotta go. And I was like, well, just explain real quick and then go, because it's a trope. I know, it's definitely a trope. No time to explain. Or even better, it's like the one would say, we'll explain on the way, and then at the end, okay, cool, and then okay, cool, now we're caught up. That's, what I liked is that you see that in, like, with Full Metal Alchemist, like, hey, they get together, they take some time, they don't show them re-explain it, then you just know there's been a jump in time, and now, oh cool, now we're all caught up. You just assume, hey, everybody knows what's going on. Everyone that was in the room at that time knows, hey, all the significant points. All right, and I'm cool with that. I was cool with that because it really sped stuff along. Because explaining the same thing over and over again also gets tedious. So you want to kind of balance it out. So it would have been fine if, like, on the way he explained, then he just quick cuts like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I'll follow you what you need to do. But in here it's just like, okay, I don't understand him, but I kind of get it. Like, her character is just, she's going to do what he says. She's going to trust it. He's not a mean person, so he's not doing this for, he has a good reason for what he's doing, even if he's silly at times. The way it seemed, though, is like, I just think it was silly that a little girl would push Mayuri. That part I don't buy. I mean, that they could have thought of a better reason, like, especially if they made it to where, again, it was like you kind of saw a shadow, so you think, like, it wasn't just a push, like something else happened. I'm not quite sure if they made it to where it was the little Mayu-chan that did push her. Nao-chan. All right, so here I was thinking, like, oh, they're gonna maybe go backwards, like get further and further back each day, and maybe reset, like stop so events are gonna happen where he kind of like stops various changes, and we'll see how things could play out. I don't know. I thought that's what they were maybe trying to do. But this is just the first episode after she was killed. We see her die a couple more times. Cool. So he probably has to go back further than just trying to save her. That maybe figure out, like, hey, what are the reasons before they even got to that point? Like, go back further in time to maybe stop that death from happening on that day. Who knows? I don't know where this storyline is going. We know, hey, there's some type of dystopian in the future. We know there's time travel. We know there are at least one or two people coming from the future. We know that. We know there's some type of conspiracy. We don't know if that's a conspiracy from the future or the present, CERN. So it's kind of cool. Like I said, I like the story. I do like the story. How long was that? Let's see, I started at the 20-minute mark, and so it took about 30 minutes to watch. When did I start this? 1 hour 20? I think it was 1 hour 20. I think. This is going faster. Depends on the episode. Some episodes take a little longer. This one didn't take too long, because a lot of it was action, so you don't hear anything. If it were in a book, it would take longer because they're describing the action instead of just showing it. There's that. Although I have found, like, in books when they're describing actions, that's actually an easier read, because you can actually visualize in your head what's going on, and usually if it's describing the action quite well, you kind of notice the events kind of flow into each other. So through the context, you also get more comprehension as to what's being said. What else? Either way, it's quite fun. Anyway, we're on episode 13. This is episode 13, so 14. So about 11 more episodes are left in this particular series. This is taking me longer. One is to get through. One is because I'm taking long breaks, which I shouldn't, but I have been doing. Another is I've done a lot of just one episode broadcasts, which again is not too good. I should be a bit more consistent, like 2 episodes, especially something like this. Like today, this went a lot faster. These 40 minutes of anime took about 60 to 70 minutes to get through, I'm assuming, roughly. so it wasn't as hard. So I was with me talking a lot. You know, especially on this episode where I was offering a lot more commentary as to how silly it is on what he's doing. But there's still time travel, so I don't know. I'm looking forward to see what the next few episodes are. And since this is one full story, so that's interesting. And who knows, because this is so much fun, if I ever do start a visual novel, this might be one of the stories that be kind of interesting to do as a visual novel. I doubt I'll do a visual novel, but hey, you know, if you got choices, this is a good choice. I don't think considering it was on PlayStation, I think it was on PlayStation, then it's probably safe for broadcast means, or YouTube broadcast. Twitch and YouTube, sorry. My, by the way, by the 15th, my timeout on YouTube for doing live streams will be over. So part of me still thinks I should be doing these on Twitch and then upload to YouTube. So tell me what you think. I get a lot more viewers on YouTube. Live streams on YouTube definitely have a lot more viewers. But maybe if I stick with Twitch a bit more and figure out how to work Twitch a little better, I can get a better audience on Twitch, if that's a thing. Although, again, audience is not really the main purpose of this, but it does make it fun occasionally where I look down and see a question, answer it, and keep going. Kind of like, you know, you get a comment like K2K White Mouse saying, "Oh, no matter what happens, my Yodi dies." Yeah, that's copyright strike. It wasn't a copyright strike; it was a takedown notice. So there was a show I did, and it was like a year and a half ago, like a long time ago, but the company for some reason did a takedown, which means YouTube has to go and remove the video, like not even make it available to myself, like it's just removed. That's a DMCA strike. That's what they're really doing. So copyrights, yeah, I've gotten those before. Those are just usually what happens is they monetize the video for themselves. That's it. So no problem there, because you're not getting a lot of money out of this for YouTube purposes. But for some reason and it was just this one video, random video. It wasn't even like the first video or the last video of that particular series. Just this one episode. It was for some reason the company that owned the rights to that video, that drama episode, just had a takedown notice for some reason. I don't know why. It's completely random. But yeah, there you go. It was so what I kind of did in response was I made the individual videos unlisted. I mean, but they were still part of I still got them. They're still available, but via the playlists. So if you go to the playlist, you'll see a list of these particular videos, and that's where you can get access to them. Which really, I don't even need to do that. I doubt many people are going back and looking at these videos. I mean, I know, well, statistically they do. There are a few people that, you know, I can go and look at the YouTube stats and say, oh wow, people are accessing this particular video, even though I know it's been a year or more since. So some people do that. I don't, for whatever reason. I don't know if it's like in U.S. or from Japan side thing. Some people in the U.S. will do it because they will go through it because there is something cool about reading along while I'm reading along. So they're kind of doing what I'm doing. They don't have the option of pausing and looking up words, but some people have said like I'm looking up the words that they would look up anyway. So that's kind of cool. So that's one thing you do. If you happen to be at my close to what my level is, then you can follow along. I've known people to do that, and in fact, it's gotten them excited to then try this out themselves when they realize like they're at that, you know, they're between that N3 and N2 level, which is a good level to be at for doing readings like this, and just realizing they can comprehend quite a more than they realized. You know, just occasionally got to catch up, pause, slow down the audio a bit by pausing a little bit, and then or using the text, and but eventually you're able to keep up, and it's quite funny. You're comprehending. You're not translating. You're not thinking in your head, okay, this is train. That's warnings whistle. No, it says densha no kei. Let's see, make sure Keiteki. Okay, yeah. For example, you know, you saw this, so you know that's I just knew that's the name of the little girl now or something. Yeah, now, and Okube. You start seeing this. You're not thinking of you just for me, I look at it just picturing the character. I'm not really saying the name out in my head when I'm seeing that right there, but you can. That's when it just comes with comprehension, and it's kind of cool when it's in when we're doing the let's reads on these books where it's describing scenes, and I really love that where you're hearing it, you're reading it, and the scene just plays out in your head, and or the conversation plays out in your head, and you're not thinking about what it means in English. You're just following along and having fun with the narrative. It's kind of cool when you get to that level, and you can then go beyond that. Like you can keep enjoying it for that reason, and then you want to consume more and more, and you can consume stuff faster on a daily basis, and then day by day you've consumed more. So like right now I'm doing it like, you know, a couple hours, but in that 2 hours, how much of it was really me reading Japanese? You know, maybe about 70-80 minutes ish. Although again, that first 20 minutes was me doing news, so I got to count that, you know, because so when people were kind of making fun of me, I was like, well, yeah, okay, I'm not really starting till the half-hour mark, and even before the half-hour mark, I am doing some reading, but it's not me reading through Steins Gate; it's through something else. You know, I'm doing 2 episodes a day. I'm purposely not going through this fast. I'm not trying to go through it fast. But some people, if you want to, and some people are doing this, you can actually go through half of a, let's say 6 to 8 episodes a day, doing something like this, and day by day, and in about 3 to 6 months, you're probably going to be pretty freaking good. I mean, just because you've consumed so much Japanese and you've gotten better at consuming it. And then also, if you're doing it with the habit of me, where you know, take the audio and then have that as background playing, so that you know, you try to pay attention and follow along with what's being said. So that means throughout the day, you're practicing your listening. Your listening comprehension, you're developing your listening comprehension, because you do remember the story it came from. You remember the conversation and the situations because you comprehended it while you were doing the let's read. So that's a benefit there. There are some limits, but I think you can get quite a lot out of that. And so when you see me doing this is not all I do. This is not all I do, because you can hear in the background now. That is. As I've said, I've taken all these dramas that I've done in anime that I've done let's read on, and I put them into this playlist on that I play on, you know, VLC on my computer, and right now this hooked up to the TV, and I just play it from the most recent episode backwards. So like not tomorrow because I'll start with a different show, but like let's say the day after tomorrow, I'm gonna start the playlist, and it's gonna be on episode either 13 or 15, depending on what I read tomorrow. If I read 14 and 15 tomorrow, then I'm going to start on episode 15, playing on this particular playlist. And then it's going to be episode 14, then 13, then 12, then 11. It's going to keep going down. And then the next, after it's down to episode 1, it's going to show in the first episode, or the last episode that I did for Full Metal Alchemist. And then keep going on from there. That's all. I mean, that's, you know, it's audio immersion. Like, I'll just have the audio turned up a lot louder. Right now it's on 15. I turned it up to like 40. Yeah. And yeah, just if I want to, like, sit down and just pay attention, or if I'm really what I'm doing and it's not helping me, as I'm fucking around on YouTube or Reddit and watching stuff that's in English. Yeah, so it is playing, but you know, so it is there, and I do get a little bit when I do pay attention, but my failing is I'm not doing a lot more stuff in Japanese. If I did, I would get better faster. That's as easy as I can put it. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with the system. It's just that I'm not consistently applying it. There you go. But hopefully the system makes sense. It's not that complicated. Here's some structured stuff to study. When you get to a point, start doing reading every day, preferably read to audio, and put that audio into an immersion loop, you know, for later, or start reading to audio or reading to a TV show. You know, rip that audio or audio book or whatever, and then put that into your listening loop. That'll help with your listening as well as your you know, and I think slowly you just start improving. You can then start using Morphman after a certain point in time. You know, it's kind of cool the way it all can work. I'm going to leave it there. So thank you all very much. This is Nuke Marine. This has been Steins Gate, episode 13. So we're past the halfway mark. So we're in the last half of the show. I think by episode 16, and then we'll be in the last third, and that's when it starts doing the downward marks. EMS 573 saying, hey Nuke, hey EMS. And call that a day. Thank you all very much. Just got Morphman set up thanks to your recommendation. Okay, Hope. Cool. I'm just gonna say thanks for watching, but you can still keep commenting. I'll reply. Okay. Yeah, and Morphman is kind of a good thing to do after you're around about N3. But not N3 level, as in finish that N3 book. Like you got about 4,000 words under your belt. That could be good. Some people can do, if you do sense mind, that works. You know, I'm starting to get the feeling, and is that the thing that really helps is all this immersion. Definitely it's watching shows. The stuff you're doing for studying, if you're doing structured, or if you're doing sentence mind, or you're doing Morphman, whatever you're doing, as long as you're trying to like, making sure, hey, these are words you're going to make an effort to memorize, and then try to build as many words as possible, or grammar or whatnot. Then let's see, Morphman, dude, it was so hard to get set up. Yes, Morphman is. What helped me is I used Matt's video, or Matt's page on setting up Morphman. Another gentleman who helps out is the Navy Dave, aka Otaku Dave, and he also creates things that explain how to set things up. I didn't feel like I had that much of a problem with it, but then I fucked with Anki a lot. If you don't fuck with Anki a lot, like you don't get into the bones deep, get into the weeds, it can be complicated. As to, like for me, I took the deck and then I added extra information. So I've added stuff to the Morphman stuff. Like what a fucking mission. But once you get it to work, I liked it. But I do agree. If it takes some setup. Making sure it can scan the correct fields, make sure it doesn't mess with fields that aren't being scanned with, understanding what happens if you have like the morph will disappear. That in that field there is a morph field, and that field will disappear later when it feels that that card is an I+0. It actually deletes that field. So that's when I started copying over like that morph into the sentence. So there's the word, the morph target, followed by the sentence. That's why I've got it set up that way. I just copy paste it, and then also I use MIA add-on, so the pronunciation is done. That's its own field. So I have a pronunciation field using Anki's internal furigana or pronunciation, but also I use Matt versus Japan's, or the MIA's Japanese add-on, which then adds its own pronunciation. I like that because it's color-coded. And then I have a field for definitions, which I use as a Japanese definition. I have a field for the like extra notes. That's the English definition, maybe a photo if I feel like the picture displays, and also the example sentences from the dictionaries. Like 2 or 3 normally is like what I do. So not too much. And yeah, and I always, like with Morphman, since I'm putting in sentences, I always have an index there, so I know where to find that sentence if I need to get context, if I need the context. So it's a lot more complicated, a lot more information, and it's basically exactly the opposite of what Matt suggests to other people. But for me, it works. That's why I do it that way. I like a bit more structure, because then if I need to make changes, it's a lot easier to make the changes later. EMS 573 saying, dude, I've been doing Anki since 2010. The app has changed so damn much. Yeah, that's true. By the way, I need some retimed subs on some of my episodes. Do you usually use Anki Aegis? I use the it's like sub yeah, it's on my page. It's there's 2 different types. Aegis is okay. The one I normally use is like sub retime. I have to actually look. Here, give me a second. Subtitle edit. That's the program name. In fact, let me open it up real quick. Come on. See if it pops up. There we go. Yeah, right here. So it's like Steins Gēto. So I was doing some retiming because of it wasn't matching up. But yeah, you can do it here. like select it here. Let's say you got the subtitles. So it's also showing, because of when I play this, the subtitles on the video, because I do a rip off of Netflix, and when I do the rip using the program I have, it hard codes the subtitles on it. So this allows me to then from here time up with, like I can say play just from beginning to text. I can see right here, so it matches up. Boom. So that makes it much easier for me to retime. Otherwise, you have to kind of like manually do it, which is possible. Like there are some subs I downloaded from J Subbers before that site got taken down, or they closed it. I don't know why it went away. Yeah, subtitle edit, and there's a new, yeah, and it's free, and you can also do bulk. Like I think, let's see. Yeah, batch convert. So that's like if you know all of them are like 5 seconds off, batch convert all the subtitles together. So that's pretty good. Yeah, so let's drag all the subtitles into here and set the time in which you're going to change it. Now it changes all the subtitles. But you just make sure to press convert, not OK. Then that'll do it. That's how I did that with a lot of the Terrace House videos, because they all seem to be about 5 seconds off. That just saves you a lot of time. And if there's a little bit of change, the way I noticed it is because all the videos should be roughly the same length. So I looked at the videos that were like off that length. So I knew that okay, there was a little bit of a time, a recording issue. Like it added some extra time for the recording. So that means I just manually went in there and looked at the slight differences and then fixed it up from there. So it's no problem. That was no problem for me. The videos that give me the most problems are those that, because of J Subbers from that website, they included the time spacing from the commercials. So you, it's kind of not too difficult to find. Let's see, let's click OK on this. In that I think you can have it set up so that on here, like on here, they might highlight something like red just means there's a conflict, like there's a time in the previous subtitle, and it's it doesn't feel like it's, those are separate times. But I guess there's like a kind of too close for comfort or something. I don't know why that's why those are showing up as red. But a good way to look is like, hey, is there a long pause? Like you can have it maybe highlight a subtitle that has a long pause in it. That's suggesting that like this subtitle and then the difference between the two is like a minute. That suggests okay, you're in the middle of a commercial, so you can go to that way. You can quickly go to that point and like find right here when the music starts. Is say play right before start. Go to sub position and pause like that right there, and do your editing as you see fit. It, like I said, it's pretty versatile. Yeah, pretty versatile, and it's free. You just gotta mess with it a little bit and kind of get the. You know, you even do the encoding if you want, but ETF is, I think it'd be great. I haven't messed with this fully, like all the different things you can do, but there were some things like doing translation. I was gonna, you don't have to worry about that. That was the issue of when I had like not hard subs, but the IDX SUV file, SBX files. Those are basically PNGs or pictures that they show as subtitle text. That was, yeah, I was thinking about doing that for a show I really liked, but then fortunately, the guy who made the Subadub program for Netflix, he's the guy who figured out a way to get these PNG files and then batch convert them into text files, so SRT files. That was a really cool trick he pulled off. It's a shame Subadub doesn't work anymore, but that also led to the reason why Learn Languages with Netflix as a program works. Very similar. Just, yeah, subtitles have made changed the language learning game. I mean, they've made it almost like it's cheating. If there is, like, if you treat it like a game, but it's not a game. It's just, hey, you just learn what you want to do. All right, I've talked about that enough. Thank you all very much. Thank you for watching. Hopefully I answered your question there, EMS 573. And yeah, that was the. I don't click on links. Sorry, I apologize. I don't really click on links in the chat. as a habit. Sorry, but yeah, subtitle edit probably is. That's why I showed you what it is. So if it matches up, you're good to go. It should be a free program. Don't pay for it. It should be free. All right. Thank you all very much. All right. So again, thanks for watching, and your comments. See you tomorrow. Okay. Later, guys.